Hello and welcome to tonight's version of Shine Like a North Star. I'm Carrie Burchell and I'm the president of North Star Coaching, and my company's focus is on helping adults work together well. Now, this whole concept of adults working together well fits perfectly with tonight's session, which is about the tail wagging the dog. This is something I've been thinking about lately with companies that are kind of dealing with accountability. We're emerging out of COVID and people are redefining their roles. We're maybe dealing with some grief out of COVID, things still not really being normal where they are. And so there's this space where we want to be compassionate with people, of course, and we still need to maintain standards. And some of those standards have shifted because COVID has kind of altered expectations or even regulations. So tonight's session is really about pausing to give ourselves a space to think through, is the tail wagging the dog in whatever circumstance you're facing right now? This may be kids at home. They get to stay up later because everything's out of skew with, lots of kids still being at home. Maybe this is around accountability. And COVID has consumed so much of the work that we're doing that we haven't really held the standard tightly because of all the things going on. It maybe wasn't the priority. And now that COVID is settling, vaccinations are out, it gives us a time to kind of think back through standards and what we expect. So let me ask some of these questions to sort of probe your thinking. What are you really pleased with in your environment? Maybe your family, your work. What are you really pleased with? What do you want to see more of? Those two questions help drive what is your standard, right? What are you pleased with and what do you want to see more of? So what I sort of see happening is we have this standard, right, which is what we're pleased with and what we want to see more of. And in reality, this person's kind of having a hard time. And so, well, we really expect them to be on time, but it's okay. They'll just work 5 or 10 minutes later, Well, the standard is the standard. You come to work on time. Or we might say, gosh, this person's been with us for 18 years. Like, I feel rotten that X has happened. Maybe we do a level of counseling. The standard's the standard. We might say, they've been furloughed. They learned all these new tasks, new roles to really pitch in and help out while things were crazy. I know that they're stressed and they haven't really felt that valued because they were furloughed and did all these other jobs. Let's kind of talk to them more. The standard's the standard. So it's a pause together to think through, what are you expecting of others and how well have you communicated those expectations, right? So that's a little bit of some previous sessions that we've had around getting people in the same circle, validating when people are showing up in the circle. What I'm saying is, what's the standard? What's that in the circle behavior that we really want to drive at? And where are we maybe compromising some of those behaviors because our compassion helps us see people's unique circumstance, our appreciation of maybe extra mile efforts that they've done to sort of pitch in with COVID. All of these things, need to be considered. And at the end of the day, what is the standard that you're setting here? If we find ourselves compromising, and this person's been with the company for 18 years, or this person took all these different roles during COVID, or this person was furloughed, or gosh, our kids are out of school and so we can let them stay up late, most nights because it doesn't really matter right now. I'm challenging you to kind of think through, what is the standard that you're setting? Have you communicated that? What do other people hear you communicating when it comes to that standard? And how consistently are you holding people to that standard? So we've talked before about how trust is consistency over time, that math equation. Trust equals consistency over time. We need to be consistent in our standard. We can be compassionate and empathetic in how we have those tough conversations with people on upholding that standard, and still hold the standard. Otherwise, it looks like the tail is wagging the dog. The dog should be the one owning things and driving stuff forward with the tail happily wagging on the end, not the other way around. So today's plug ultimately is really about accountability. I see some struggles in other companies around this. Part of that victim piece coming out of COVID, part of it's because our roles, many roles have changed resulting from COVID. We have projects that are emerging out of COVID that are new to us. So, the work may be different. Let's get clear on what that standard looks like, because the standard isn't markedly different for project to project, role to role, the behaviors that we expect in our family, in our communities, in our work families, in our professional world. That standard doesn't whimsically change based on project or role. There needs to be some consistency, and we need to hold people to that consistency over time. If we don't, then the look is favoritism, you're being mean, I can't believe you did that. What gets tricky then is when we start introducing accountability and we have not held the standard consistent, we have let the tail wag the dog. When we start introducing that consistency around the standard and people are held to it and they haven't been consistently held to it for whatever reason, butt hurt. I'm sure there's a more professional expression for that. It's one of my favorite American sayings that I've learned, butt hurt. People do feel hurt. And then the story about you and about you as a leader and about your company starts spiraling because person X got away with this for 3 months, a year, 5 years, maybe it's beyond COVID. And all of a sudden we're starting to hold people accountable. Ooh, that stings. So think through, what is your standard? How clearly has that been explained? Get people to parrot back what they hear you saying so that you have a negotiation. For example, I could say, at this company, we respect people. What the heck does respect look like? To me, that's walking into a room and acknowledging people. To someone else, it's maybe not being interrupted to say hi when you walk in a room, because respect is let us do our work. Let's figure it out. What does that look like on both sides of the fence and get a norm around what respect looks like? For me, respect is not having conversations after the meeting about the meeting. Saying those things you didn't have the courage to say during the meeting. That's not respectful, right? Someone else might feel it is respectful because you didn't want to create a conflict during the meeting. Well, let's get clear on how we deal with conflict then. Because respect is being transparent and honest, clear, even if it's not literal. Let's have those discussions, right? I can't sort of get on somebody for starting some drama outside of the meeting because we weren't really clear on what drama looks like and how drama is not respectful. You get the idea, right? This could quickly spin, and we have to slow down to have those conversations, because if we don't, and we start holding people accountable, it looks polka dotted. It doesn't look compared to the standard. And that really does create some ill will, and it shifts the reputation of organizations. So regardless of where you find yourself wagging the tail, the dog or the tail, you really want to start today around being more consistent, slowing down to have some of those conversations and really pausing to ask yourself, am I letting the tail wag the dog here? Is this something that I can own where maybe I haven't been as consistent as I'm going to be moving forward? COVID gives us this great opportunity to kind of reset. So tail wagging the dog or the dog wagging the tail? That is today's question. Have a great day and great week, everyone. We'll see you next week on Shine Like a North Star, where we learn how to work together well and show up as our best. My name's Carrie Burchell, and I would love to connect with you. Let's connect on LinkedIn or Facebook, or certainly follow my channel. Bye.